Every year goes by faster. Honestly, I was scared. Tired of going on dates and having to look at the menu and order appetizers because I couldn't afford the other side of the menu. So motherfuckers out here wasting time when you don't have time to waste. Procrastination is a disease. If you don't take responsibility right now, you're gambling with the results of your future. The pain don't last forever, bro. It don't. What up, fellas? Today we're gonna talk about hesitation, the reason some people hesitate, why it's not good to hesitate, and the science behind taking action so you don't hesitate in the future. First thing first, I wanna make clear, every year goes by faster, and we only get 70. If we lucky. We really don't have any time for hesitation when you put it in that perspective. It's important to take the risk, right? Whatever you're thinking about accomplishing, if it makes you uncomfortable, take the risk. I'm gonna be transparent with y'all, right? It's been a few times in my life where I've taken that risk and I've never regretted it one time. I used to have an issue with like waiting to the right moment to take the risk, but in reality, there is no perfect moment to take the risk. There's never gonna be a perfect time. So just a personal story about me. So back in 2021, where people were losing their job, stability was up in the air and the whole world was just, the next thing in the world was just unpredictable. A lot of people were scared. A lot of people were like dipping into their savings. It was just a lot going on at that time. With me, I was blessed enough to actually have a job and I was cool. I was content. At this time, I was working at Porsche. I was making good money. I felt like since I had a good job, I can kick my feet up. I got real comfortable. I had a routine going, and that's when we started working from home. Long story short, I took the working from home opportunity and got real lazy, so I ended up getting fired from Porsche, which is probably one of the best jobs that I've had in regards to work culture, taking care of your employees, benefits, the people you actually meet. So the customers that I was talking to were like high class. For the position I was in at the time, I felt like I was doing well for myself. But like I said, I got lazy and they ended up firing me. I did not get fired due to the pandemic. I got fired due to me being lazy. So when they let me go, I still, I had a good amount of savings, but even with me not having a job, I was like day by day, the savings was getting lower. I knew I had to get back on my feet and find another job. At this time, my mom, she had a friend, and my mom's friend was telling her about this IT school she went to and got her certifications, and now she's benefiting off that certification and she's in a great spot. My mom told me about the IT academy. I kind of brushed it off I just assumed it was a scam because as y'all know, during the pandemic, there was a lot of scams going on. I just didn't take my mom's word for it. So I'm like, okay, she just look into it. I'm like, all right, I'll look into it. Never looked into it. Continuing on by my life. So a couple weeks down the line, I ended up getting a call center job. I started having some income coming in. It wasn't as much as I was making at Porsche, but I was having some income coming in. So that kind of hurt my pride a little bit because I felt myself moving backwards. I started eating up at my pride a little bit. And then at that time, my circle and my friends, they were like, doing what they were supposed to do. They were in a good spot, and this time I'm still living at home with my mom. I just got fired. My new job, I took a pay cut. It's the pandemic. I don't know what's about to happen. So yeah, a couple weeks go by. My mom like, did you look into the IT academy? I'm like, I ain't looking into it yet. She like, stop playing, look into it. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna look into it. And a couple of days go by, randomly, I talked to my mom about it. Something in my head told me take action. And I think what clicked to me is because I realized that during the pandemic, a lot of us were working remote. So I felt like technology was about to go in an upward direction that we've probably never seen before. It's going to be a lot of remote jobs, digital meetings, applications, and at the same time, we didn't know if we were ever going to go back into the office. So I kind of figured IT is in very high demand right now. I ended up reaching to the Tech Academy. They even put me on the phone with a former graduate, and he was just telling me his story about how he was skeptical at first, but he ended up going through it and getting some certifications. Now he's making well past 6 figures. He was able to buy his mom a house, his dad his dream car, telling me the whole story, telling me the whole rundown. I was still a little skeptical because it was kind of like one of the moments too good to be true type of thing. You know what I mean? So it's like, okay, y'all telling me the good, but what about the bad? And it's like, I wasn't sure if they paid him to tell me this story or if the story was even true, So I'm like, all right, y'all telling me all the good stuff, like all the fluff, but like let's move past the fluff. Like what do I need to come with? I'm like, okay, well, how much is this academy? They told me $10,000. Now at this time in 2021, I've never spent $10,000 nothing in my life. I never had my own crib. I didn't have my own car. $10,000 was a lot of money for me to spend on something that I wasn't necessarily sure about or was even going to work. You know, at this point, I'm still kind of debating if it's a scam or not. In the back of my head, like I'm going to sleep every night, just like everybody around me, they got their own car, their own crib. When I say everybody, I'm talking about my friends. So it was kind of eating at my pride, honestly. I told them I don't have $10,000 to invest. You know, I was honest with them. I just got fired from my job. I picked up another job, was making less than what I was making, so I didn't have it. So they told me an option where I could finance. And at this time, like I said, I didn't have my own car, didn't have my own crib. I really didn't have any assets or anything valuable to my name at the time. I called a bank and asked for a loan so I'm able to pay for this academy. I get denied. I get denied for the loan because my credit score was trash. Before this time, I probably didn't even look at my credit score. It wasn't nothing that was important to me. I graduated college. I wasn't looking to buy anything or invest in anything at the time, so my credit score was just wasn't at the top of my mind. This is the first time in my life where things started actually clicking, like, okay, it's time to grow up. It's time to fix yourself. It's time to fix yourself. I talked to my mom, like, yo, mom, I got denied. They told me my credit score was trash, right? So my mom sat with me. We looked at my credit score. We went over what was on my credit score and ways that I could improve my credit score. I ended up getting my credit score high, and I was able to call the bank back a couple months later and ask for the loan. And now that my credit score was a lot better, they granted it to me. So I contacted the tech academy. I'm like, I got the money. This was a very big investment that I was making. Honestly, I was scared, and not scared in the sense of like fearful, but more in the sense of like not knowing what's next, not knowing if this was true, not knowing if my story will be similar to the guy that they had me on the phone with who had 6 figures. I went on ahead and made the payment. I started the academy. So the academy was 12 weeks. So they're like, look, listen, we're gonna have class every week, Monday through Friday for 12 weeks. Study, do your homeworks, and we're gonna help you land a job. I took this opportunity very serious. I cut off all distractions. I locked myself in my room for 6 months. 6 months, no outside, no chicks, no drinking with the friends. I wasn't chilling in the gym for 3 hours no more. I was studying every night. This was like the first time in my life where I was kind of like in an all or nothing situation. Tired of living at the crib with my mom. Tired of asking my mom if I could drive her car to go places. Tired of going on dates and having to look at the menu and order appetizers because I couldn't afford the other side of the menu. It was a lot of things that was eating up my pride at the time. I locked myself in my room for 6 months. No playing, none of that. 12 weeks passed. After the academy, I get my certification. Ended up being the first IT job that I land was offering me less than the current job that I had. And I was confused. I'm like, I just got this certification. Shouldn't I be worth more? They were just telling me like, look, just be patient, get your foot in the door. Once you get your foot in the door, you're gonna go up. So just take the opportunity, because all you gotta do is get your foot in the door. Once you get your foot in the door, it's gonna go up. So I take the opportunity, making less money than I was already making. At this time, I'm still applying for jobs. Nothing is coming through because I don't have the experience. So I'm still working, but as I'm working, I'm applying for jobs, but I'm also learning. And at this time, I'm kind of getting a little discouraged because the other people I graduated with through the tech academy, they were already making 6 figures. They were already on their second, third job. You know, it just wasn't sitting right with me. As I should have used that discouragement to put some fire under me. It made me lazy. If it's not for me, it's not for me. So as I was applying for jobs, I was getting interviews, but I was getting denied. Interviews denied. I got discouraged. I stopped applying for jobs. December came and I ended up getting a call. Hey, we have your resume. You applied for our job. Are you still interested? You know, when they said the name of the company, I don't even remember because I was just applying for stuff. But I'm like, yeah, I'm interested. They offered me the job. I'm gonna be transparent with y'all. They were offering me a lot more than what I was currently making, but they told me that the job was in Houston. Right now, at this current time, I was living in Atlanta. So I never lived away from my family before. And like I said, I never lived by myself. I never had my own crib at that point. So just me moving to a new city by myself, getting everything on my own, it was different. It was different, and I didn't feel like I was ready for it. So I denied it. I'm like, nah, like, no, thank you. So I turned it down. So they like, okay, no problem. The next day they called me. They like, hey, we want to re-offer you. We want to give you another offer. So this offer was more money. But I told him like, nah, I wasn't ready. I felt like I wasn't ready. So a couple of days go by. I ain't really thinking nothing of it because I'm like, I want a job in Atlanta. I want a job where I can stay close to my family. You know, I don't gotta move to a new city. I was comfortable. They called me back a couple of days later with an offer that I couldn't refuse. I was still scared. You know what I'm saying? I was still scared because, you know, it was just a 6-month contract and I wasn't sure, like, after the 6 months, then what? You know, I already, you know, but I would have just bought a new house, moved to a new city, and, you know, they let me go after 6 months, then what? So I talked to my mom about it, and I told her about the offer. She looked me dead in my face. She said, you'll be crazy if you didn't take that offer. She was like, I'll help you pack right now. Just me seeing my mom's confidence and how serious she was and how excited she was put a lot more confidence in me. And before you know it, we packed up the car, we drove to Houston. I got my first crib. I started the job. Even after the 6-month contract, they hired me on full time, making more money than I've ever made. But I tell that story to say, y'all, like, I was hesitant. For one, I was being naive, right? I wasn't listening to my mom when she first told me about the opportunity. For two, I was hesitating. When I did hear about the opportunity, I was hesitating to do my research. I was hesitating to reach out and talk to them. I was hesitant to learn the information. I was hesitant to invest. But when I stopped hesitating and I actually took action, I ended up fixing my credit. I ended up learning a new skill. I ended up increasing my value by getting my certifications. I ended up moving to a new city and I ended up making well over 6 figures just because I stopped hesitating. If I was to let that hesitation take over me, I would still be in Atlanta in the same spot. In your life, you're going to run into scenarios where you're going to have to make a tough decision. And the way to win that, don't take forever to make your decision. Yes, think about it, do your research, make an educated choice, but don't dwell on it for a long time, and especially don't dwell on it out of fear. So trust me, fellas, I've been there. You know, I've been in situations where, you know, I was hesitant, but I wasn't hesitant because I was scared. You know what I'm saying? I was hesitant because I didn't know what was on the other side. And every time that I got over that hesitation, I've gained something. Income, knowledge, self-respect, self-confidence. Sometimes you gotta make the move and figure it out, not figure it out, then make the move. I know there's a cliche saying where people be like, yo, follow your gut, but sometimes your gut be acting a little scary. You gotta follow your heart. In my heart, if I know someone's gonna help me or push me to my limits, I'm going towards it. I told myself 2026, I'm taking risks, I'm not waiting. We really only get 70 of these years if we lucky. So motherfuckers out here wasting time when you don't have time to waste. So anything that make me uncomfortable or I'm scared of, I'm doing it, spare the moment. A lot of us hesitate because we feel like we're gonna be lonely, we're gonna lose friends, our body's tired, we don't wanna invest, we scared of spending our last dime on something. Who gives a fuck? Honestly, like, really think, like, what's the worst that can happen? Y'all gotta understand, the successful men are the men that can bear being uncomfortable the longest. The pain don't last forever, bro, it don't. I wanna show y'all a video that I seen on YouTube of an older man, I believe like 50, 60, of regret that he's facing in his life because he didn't take action when he was younger.
That motivation is simply this, young man. You are gonna fucking die. And every day you live, you're getting closer to that day that you are going to die. You have wasted a good amount of your life. You've wasted a good amount of your life and you're up against time. See, that's where I'm at right now, young man, at 55 years old. See, the light bulb has went off for me. The light bulb has went off for me, and I realize that I am going to die sooner than later. So now everything is an emergency for me, right? It's an emergency because I'm up against time, right? All of the stuff that I'm trying to tell you guys, being consistent, developing good habits, all of these things are an emergency for me now. Because I'm out of time. What I think about when I look back on all of the time that I wasted on bullshit, women, relationships, chasing box, all of that stuff. This could have been time that I could have been doing the things that I'm telling you about now. This could have been time that I could have learned a new skill that by now I would have mastered and I would have been able to make tons of money at it. This would have been the time that it would have took for me to try new things and no, I don't like that. Let me go to another thing and then find out what I really want to do and then learn it, develop it, master it even, right? But I wasted time. I was distracted by everything. I didn't take time serious.
Do y'all see his passion? Do y'all hear it? Do y'all see the regret in his face of not taking action sooner? That pain of failure is temporary. That pain of regret can last your lifetime. You gotta take action. Cause we can't change the past, but we can change the actions that we take in the future. Fellas, grab your pen and pad, cause I'm about to give y'all some game right here. Best things you could do to muster up to become successful. 1, waste little time as possible. Like I said before, a lot of us, we dwell on things too long, and before you know it, the opportunity passed. Number 2, limit your distractions. Social media, Netflix, females, friends, family, games, party. Even food could be a distraction. The list of distractions is endless. It's just anything that pushing you the opposite way of where you need to be going is a distraction. Number 3, and this might be the most important one, take advantage of your weekends. I think we underestimate how much time we actually really have on the weekends that we can actually use to better ourselves. So take advantage of the weekends when you don't have the distraction of work, a commute, and things of that nature. So make sure you take advantage of your weekend. Use it as a day to become closer to the person that you need to be. And the last one that kind of goes into stop wasting time is stop procrastinating. Procrastination is a disease. Procrastinating is selfish and egotistic. That's assuming that we have time to waste. That's assuming that we are going to wake up tomorrow. That's assuming that we're going to be alive in 5 years. That's assuming that the opportunity not going nowhere. Like when we procrastinate, procrastinating could probably be the most egotistic thing that you could do, because it's like you're moving on your time when it's really you don't control your time. Only thing you can control is your decisions. This is the mark of when you first make your first decision and stop procrastinating. And this is the mark where you actually reach the level of success that you want. So you got to understand, the less you procrastinate, the shorter this gets. We don't understand there's a difference between right now and your future. If you don't take responsibility right now, you're gambling with the results of your future. You got to look at it like this, right? Between now and the future is a series of decisions that you have to make. And each decision that you make comes with an action. Some decisions take 1 action. Some decisions take 1,000 actions. Let's just say hypothetically, we're just going to use low numbers for the sake of the example. We have right now, and we have the input of your success. Let's say between here and here, you have 100 decisions you need to make. But each decision requires 100 steps to finish that decision. That's 10,000 actionable steps that you need to take. So it may look like 100, but it's really 10,000. And that's why a lot of people say success is further than we think. We may think our business is going to be successful in 3 years. It may really take us 7. It may really take us 10, because we're anticipating a straight road. We're not anticipating the bumps and the bruises that we got to overcome to get to the next level. So all in all, there's an arbitrary amount of decisions that you need to make between now and your success point. So you just got to condense the time that it takes you to make those decisions. Stop procrastinating, stop hesitating. Between now and your future success could be 10,000 decisions. And the fastest way to get to success, you just got to make one right decision after the next right decision. Waking up early, reading, deep work, studying, limiting your distractions. And a lot of people gonna be like, well, how do we know if we making the right decision? And honestly, the most uncomfortable and painful decision is typically the right one. And think of it like this: the right decision brings the most suffering. It brings the most suffering and pain in the short term and success in the long term. The picture between now and your future success is in linear form. So you can't make decision 2 until you make decision 1. You can't make decision 3 until you make decision 2. Respect the process. That's the beauty of it. So yeah, fellas, all in summary, man, stop hesitating. Think about the decision. Shorten the amount of time it takes for you to make your decision and be fully committed. Don't hesitate. Don't procrastinate. We don't have as much time as we think. The longer you hesitate to make a decision, the harder it's gonna be. But that's what I needed to talk to y'all today, fellas. Make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe, and keep a lookout for that week 4 vlog.